Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell and joined by my loyal co-host and friend, Darren Brownie Brown, and also the Rabbit, Brendan Taliski. What's doing, boys?
Yeah, g'day, boys, and it's good to be back, and especially after that great win yesterday up on the Gold Coast, boys. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, g'day to all the viewers out there and all the listeners. A great Monday, a great start to the week.
Yeah, definitely, DB. G'day, chaps. G'day, DB. Just great to pick up the 2 points. It's been 3 months between wins when you add up the buys, and what a great afternoon yesterday to watch the mighty Bunnies record a victory, eh?
Yeah, well, it's the 9th of May, the last time we had a win over anyone, to be honest. But the Titans, we've got a great record against the Titans going into that one. It wasn't spoken about a lot, but I was just reading up on it. It's 5,941 days since they beat us on the Gold Coast. That's some sort of record, that. 2009 was the last time we lost a game up there.
Yeah, we've had a lot of luck up there, and it continued on that running, that winning run yesterday. So yeah, it was good to see.
They certainly did. Well, great look at Indigenous round. We're always up for the Indigenous round, no doubt about it. Lester Q coming out, a good guy that I've got to know a little bit over the years doing the podcast. Interviewed him on stage with I think maybe Ross Harrington at some of those post-match functions, and had a game of golf with him last year up there in Mudgee. So yeah, shout out to you, Lester. Lester Biles, a really good, strong winger back in the 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to play with Lester, a fantastic fella, a proud Indigenous man, and there was no better man to lead the Bunnies out onto that field yesterday than Lester Q. Lives up on the Gold Coast these days, and like you said, chaps, he's always down for the events, all the old boys events that we have throughout the year, and he gets out the Mudgee, and it was good to see him lead the boys out yesterday.
Yeah, certainly was. Look, 20 points to 18, victory over the Gold Coast Titans, dubbed the Spoon Bowl. I mean, Wayne played it down a little bit, but I'm sure they've talked about it amongst themselves. They showed a bit of desperation, but boys, the difference in that game is the class and the entertainer that he is. Latrell Mitchell, he was worth 18 points. He set the first one up with one touch. He stopped Jaden Campbell by coming around and slapping his arm. And then he did the flick pass out the back. There's 3 tries in a 2-point ball game. He was pretty special.
Yeah, no, he was unbelievable, chaps. Latrell Mitchell, he was the difference between winning and losing that game yesterday. I believe if Latrell Mitchell and Brandon Smith, the cheese, was enormous too. If those two blokes don't play that game, I think we get beaten by possibly 2 or 3 tries, maybe more, chaps.
Yeah, fair statement. Brownie, Latrell, look, 2 try assists, 115 metres, 3 tackle breaks, a line break, a try saver, 2 offloads, and the key one, no errors and no kick meters. Didn't even have to kick Brownie.
Yeah, and playing in the centre position, look, he's accustomed to both positions, the fullback and the centre. I've been calling it for quite some time that we need to fit Jai Gray into the team somewhere, and Wayne pulled the trigger on the weekend and played Latrell centre and Jai Gray fullback. And look, Latrell, he made his presence felt in that first 10 minutes of that game, and you just said some of them stats, chaps. He came up with a try assist in the first 3 minutes to AJ, that catch and pass, beautiful catch and pass, put AJ in for his first of 2 tries. Came up with a try saver on young Jaden Campbell, who was certain to score under the post. He tried to improve his position, and Latrell came from nowhere and continued on the play, never give up on the play, and saved the try, and came up with a spectacular catch, contested a bomb, a very important bomb in that first 10 minutes where the Gold Coast were attacking. And from then on in, it was just, the Latrell show, and everything he did was quality, and you wouldn't expect anything less. And like you said, Brendo, I thought the cheese was outstanding as well. 2 quality players, 2 big game players. There's a couple of players in our team that we're a different team when they play. Latrell's one of them. Cody's another one. Cameron Murray is another one. And by the looks of it, the cheese is going to be another one. He was instrumental yesterday in his first game back from injury.
Well, he's just powerful running the ball, Brownie. He dominates the defender, which we don't have a lot of players in our team that do that. Maybe David Wiley on occasions does it. He's, Liver Havili, they're quite strong. He just gets up and plays the ball at will. And you've seen how that brought Peter Mamazoulis into the game. Peter Mamazoulis scooped, one-handed scoop, and sometimes there's no marker in front of him. He just went straight, took the meters on offer. If you've got people pushing up around the ball, you might see Pete do a bit of ball playing and put people through holes. I think Brandon Smith did a scoop himself a few times off nice play the balls, and he was able to create a line break there. I think he did a little offload. So he's got the ball skill. He's got the football now. So, look, Brandon Smith, 58 minutes, 111 metres. Had that line break assist, as I said. But what he does is he just plays the ball quick and gets a bit of ruck speed. And he also put a shot on too. Outside in, he belted Jamin Jolliffe. He didn't know where he was after that.
Yeah, there was a period in that second half he came up with some really big plays as well, back-to-back plays in defence, out on his feet. Like you said, chaps, he played big minutes. His stats were really strong, so you would have expected him to be tired. He was, and he was out on his feet at times, but he just gives that little bit extra, and he just knows how to do that. He's played in some big games, in some really good systems, and he just knows how to give that little bit extra when he's out on his feet. And he did that yesterday. He came up with some really, really big defensive plays. And he was really strong. I thought he was, probably the difference in the two teams.
Yeah, definitely, DB. That's a really good point. I thought some of his power running from dummy half was just incredible. And with our lightweight forward pack, I think a heavy set hooker with a really strong running game and still possesses a bit of speed and is able to knock defenders over. Guys like Jai Arrow and Lockie Hubner and these lighter weight forwards are able to get off the back of these charges from Brandon Smith, and they're able to make some good meters themselves, mate.
Yeah, he just opens it up. You watch the Gold Coast defense, if they did the high shot, they're getting dragging backwards. And that's when you're going to get the likes of, I thought the halves played pretty well, like Humphreys and young Ashton Ward. When they had their opportunity, they squared up. They straightened first before they played out. And it sort of resulted in the first couple of tries, didn't it? The one to Bailey Bentley Harpe and the one to Alex Johnson, the first one. That was purely the halves there squaring up, giving the boys out the back time. Like both centres had beautiful catch and passes. Latrell Mitchell on the left-hand side and Isaiah Tass. Don't take anything away from his catch and pass to Bailey Bentley Harpe. He went over untouched, Bailey. So, good rap to the halves, tip of the cap to them. But, look, I just mentioned he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. The two tries he scored, he had a bit to do. The first one wasn't just a straight catch the ball and put it down. He had to get outside Fafita, big unit that he is, and get the ball down. The other one, he beat two or three blokes and exploded through the hole. Like Alex Johnson, 209 tries and counting, 3 from the tying the record, 4 from taking the record. He had 8 tackle breaks in the game too, boys. He was pretty special on the weekend again.
Yeah, definitely, chaps. AJ, what a finisher. And like I said a few weeks ago on the potty, there's plenty of people online that said, all this guy does is catch the ball and put it down. That's not the case. The second try he scored especially was absolutely brilliant. He's had to catch the flick pass from Latrell about half a metre above his head, and then he's had to beat 3 blokes and explode into that hole, as you just mentioned, and run around and put it next to the sticks. He's an absolute great finisher, one of the best finishers we've seen in the history of South Sydney, and I can't wait till he breaks that record, and I know plenty of other supporters out there are really looking forward to him breaking that record.
Yeah, with the likes of Latrell returning, that record could be broken this year. And like you boys just indicated, look, I know he's scored a lot of his tries untouched, but a lot of his tries he's had to do a lot of work on as well. So he's just a special finisher. If there's a try on offer, he'll get it done, and that's exactly what he did on the weekend. But credit to Latrell, like you said, 2 try assists, the little flick pass out the back and the catch and pass, outstanding. And with Latrell returning, AJ's a big chance of breaking that record this year.
Poor old Jojo Fafita. I'm told he didn't sleep last night. Alex Johnson made him look pretty stupid. Go and have a look at the second try. Tell me what Jojo Fafita is doing in that play. Yeah. Sprinted over and just kept running towards the fence, the sideline. Alex Johnson's already gone past him and over the line. Yeah, poor old Jojo, mate. I know he's he's pretty good. They named him twice, but he wasn't too good on the weekend. He got carved up by our man Alex Johnson, the great. 14 tries in 13 games this year. I'll tell you what, you want to get yourself out to Allianz Stadium next week. He could score a hat trick and equal the great Ken Irvine. So I don't know about you two, but I'm going to be getting myself out there, no doubt about it.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be outstanding for him to break it, in the next couple of weeks. But I just want to give him a bit of a rap, and not so much him, but his speed. He hasn't lost any of his speed. I know last year and this year he's had a couple of injuries, especially leg injuries. He's returned to the game without losing any of his speed. And I know they put a stat in today's paper about the fastest man in rugby league. He probably hasn't had the opportunity to reach his top potential speed over the last couple of weeks. They've named the Fox, and he's getting older as well. The Fox, one of the fastest men in rugby league, but AJ's going to be up there, let me tell you, because he's lost none of his speed based on what we saw yesterday.
Well, what about that? I think was it the first half? Yeah, I think it was in the first half where they carved us up down the left-hand side, and they had a couple of options. They ended up kicking it on the inside. There's two Titans there. It was a certain try. He's come from the clouds out of picture in the camera, scooped it up and stopped a certain try there because there was two Titans pouring down the middle. And little do they know Alex Johnson was going to go and pick their pocket. That he's just something special, this bloke. And I mean, I think he's a bit underappreciated as to what he can and can't do in rugby league. But at our club, he's not underappreciated at all. And they're going to be by the time he retires, Brandon, there'll be awards named after him for years to come. Not just at the Rabbitohs, but in rugby league. One of the real professionals that have ever played for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Look, I want to give a rap to Sean Keppie, much maligned Sean Keppie. Has a few good games, has a couple of Barrys, but yesterday was certainly not a Barry Crocker as we record here very, very early on a Monday morning. Look, he come up with a couple of big shots. One of them was in Jalen de Groot. If you remember that one, he just bear hugged him and monstered him. He come up with a couple of other shots early in the first half just to try and inspire his teammates and show that he's the leader of our pack at the moment with our Keon and Cam and David Mwale out and Junior Satola.
Yeah, definitely. Big Sean Keppie. Some of his contact in defence yesterday, he really rattled the cages of quite a few Titans. I was watching the game on KO and the commentators mentioned his contact 2 or 3 times throughout that game, how hard he was hitting players, and he really wanted to win for the jumper yesterday, Sean Keppie. And another bloke, Chapo, just while you're on the subject of wingers, I follow the Rabbits because I love an underdog. And a great underdog story is Bailey Bentley Harpe. We've lost plenty of games this year on goal kicking, and he's put his hand up yesterday and knocked over quite a couple of pressure conversions and a penalty goal, and it was instrumental in us winning the game. And I've got a nickname for him too because he's got the hyphenated surname. I'm going to call him the Hyphen. So big game from the Hyphen yesterday. He hasn't got the speed of AJ, mate, but he's got plenty of footy smarts. He's good under a high ball, and he can kick a goal. And shout out to Bailey Bentley Harpe, the Garbo from Randwick Council.
Yeah, well, Chaps and I have been watching this young kid for quite some time. We called him in an A-grade grand final probably some 3 or 4 years ago, and we indicated that he's got a lot of potential. He's came up through the pathway system and waited for his opportunity. Got a couple of opportunities this year, and like you said, boys, I think Humphreys took the first kick yesterday and he sprayed it and probably didn't have the confidence, and then gave the next one to Bailey Bentley Harpe and he nailed it. And like you said, them 2 penalty kicks that we took in that first half, obviously, gave us a big advantage on the scoreboard leading into half time. And just going back to Sean Keppie, led our tackle count with, I think, 36 tackles, only 3 misses. And it was the one-on-one contacts that we like to see from this bloke. He did it against St George in the early rounds. He came up with a big performance that game and had that same defensive style play in that particular game. We just need it to be more consistent from the big front rower. And like you said, Chaps, he's taken and onus on the lead role because we've got a couple of key front rowers out now. And it's up to Sean Kepi to lead the way. And he certainly did that yesterday. His stats weren't great in his running game, but I think it was his defensive game. And it was a defensive win, basically. We had no field position in that second half at all for the first 20 minutes until Latrell. We got down the other end and Latrell did that little flick pass. I think it was the only time we got down there, basically, in that second half. But, yeah, big performance from Sean Kepi and Bailey Bentley-Harpy.
Yeah, there was some good performance. Like, I mean, in a game like that, where the Titans were coming, they kept coming at us. 2018 it was at that back end. There's blokes who come up with some big defensive plays, and we've given a rap to Sean. I want to give a rap to Tom Fletcher. Thought he come up with a couple of crucial tackles. I think one was one-on-one with Fermor, was it? I think it was Fermor. They had a ding-dong battle. They had a little blue together too. Bit of argy-bargy. So well done to Thomas because he, they try to intimidate him out there. He certainly wouldn't have any of it, but just come up with a few really big plays, including one late in the game where the commentators thought it was a high tackle. I don't think it was. I think it was around the shoulder. Maybe Joe Arrow might have just clipped him across the head, but it certainly wasn't penalty worthy. And hats off to Des Hasler, the class of Des Hasler. He wouldn't have any of it when the journos tried to get him to buy into being robbed by not receiving a penalty. He said, mate, we had enough chances to win that game, not blaming a penalty.
Yeah, I want to second your opinion there, chaps. I thought young Tommy Fletcher was outstanding in defence. Didn't get very many minutes, but the minutes he was on there, he had a very, very big impact in the game and came up with some big plays. I think there was one there as well where he came across in cover and pushed the winger over the sideline. I think he might have been with Isaiah Tass and forced him over the sideline. Just some little second effort plays is what, the little 1%ers. And while we're on the, on the topic of Fletcher, I just want to wish his old man a happy birthday for tomorrow. Big Nick Fletcher. I know he's a big fan of the show. He drove up to the Gold Coast yesterday. A shout out to you, Nick. Happy birthday for tomorrow, brother.
Yeah, Nick Fletcher, what a great bloke. He rang me yesterday about 10 minutes after the game finished, and he had a laugh about the message I sent him, and that was they teach him well out in Canamble how to cover up a strip and a high tackle, and Nick wanted me to mention that on the potty, and I told him I would. And another great thing, he said it was just surreal to see his young bloke out there after the game signing Rabbitohs jumpers. He had a texter on him, and he's given kids autographs on their jerseys, their flags and their caps, and he was one of the last blokes out there. And from what Nick tells me, Jason Clark actually had to come out and one strip the permanent marker off Tommy because he was signing too many autographs. And they said, mate, we need you back in the shed. We've got to get going.
We've got to sing the song.
Yeah.
I know. It would have been a big thrill for the family, mate. He's one of the young blokes that performed. I thought, again, Jamie Humphries, Ashton Ward, Peter Mamazoulis, Tallis. These are all the young blokes that are getting an opportunity. Lachlan Hubner, Liam LeBlanc, they're all getting opportunities this year due to our, horrible injury run. There's going to be some green shoots, as they say, some positives coming up out of this season. We might go on and win a couple of games to finish the year off. I'm expecting Cam Murray to be named and Keon Kalomatungi to be named for the Parramatta game. That's my mail there. I could be wrong here. And Cody Walker could be jumping up at 22 as well. He's 50-50 going into this game, but he'll definitely be ready for the Dragons game. So you add those experienced, classy players, in particular Cam Murray, who, I think we've seen how tough it's been to hold middles up in defence without someone like Cameron Murray. And just his late footwork. And look, he's worked his absolute backside off. And there's a lot of mixed opinions on whether he should play or not. Well, I'm going to leave it. I've said it since the start. I'm going to leave it up to Cam Murray to make that decision. I'm not going to get South Sydney to overrule him or the medical staff. If Cam Murray says he's ready, Cam Murray's ready, in my opinion. Brownie?
Well, Wayne Bennett said the same thing, chaps. He's going to leave it up to Cameron Murray. He's played enough games. He's a professional athlete. He knows if he's going to be ready or not. There's a couple of reasons why Cameron wants to come back, and he wants to try and help this side win games. And he's got red and green blood running through his veins, and he's a winner. and he wants to play footy. And if he's ready, let him play. And I said at the start of this show that we're a different team when Cameron Murray plays. And let me tell you, if he plays this week, look out Parramatta, because we'll be one hell of a different team on Saturday night at Allianz Stadium for this big clash against the Parramatta Eels.
Yeah, well, they're playing some good footy the last month. The Eels had a scrappy win yesterday. Like a 1 point win's a win. Doesn't matter how you do it. But look, Dean Hawkins' revenge game coming up. There's no doubt about it. He'll be wanting to put one over his old team who decided to let him go. Brought in an English import instead of him, and that English import, I don't even know where he is. He didn't play yesterday. I'm not sure what happened to him yesterday, but we'll get to that one later. Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a clash. But like I said, possibly sprinkling in some experienced stars like those three guys I just named. You add that to what we added on the weekend with your Smiths, your Latrell Mitchells. It's, talking to one of the coaches yesterday afternoon, he said, look, we're a dangerous team. If we get our best team on the park, we're a very dangerous football team. I wouldn't want to come up against us. So that's bit of mail out of the Rabbitohs there. AJ Brimson, I want to give him a tip of the cap. Geez, he's a hard bloke to handle. I'd love to know how many tackle breaks he had. He just kept bumping off South players at will down the middle of the field, and I was just waiting for him to get in the clear. But look, we obviously kept working hard for each other, because a guy like that didn't really see a lot of open pasture, even though he made 257 metres.
Yeah, chaps, we didn't win a lot of the stats, and especially the missed tackle count. I think we doubled their missed tackle count, but it was our scramble defence. We were just talking about it before, how Tommy, scrambled across the field to shift the winger over the sideline. It's just them little second efforts and working for the bloke. Once somebody misses a tackle, there's someone there to knock him down, and that's what you want to see from your team. And definitely our win was based on the back of defence, because we had no field position in that game at all, and we had to do a lot of defending. And credit to the boys for turning up in defence, and they've been doing it, week in, week out, as Wayne has been saying in his press conferences. And once again yesterday, it was a big effort in defence, and their effort and commitment.
Oh, for sure. Look, it was 6 tackle breaks for the record. AJ Brimson, not as many as our man Alex Johnson, but still looked like he had a lot more than that. Look, on a negative note, I thought the referee had a Barry Crocker again yesterday. The ranger there, the linesman was standing there when they did a flick pass forward. De Groot had to put his arm outstretched to catch it. He dove over. The first thing De Groot did which gave himself up, was turn around and look at the linesman to see if it was a forward pass.
Yeah.
That's the very first thing he did. And then you have a look at Jai Gray. Jai just had his hands up. You're going to let that go. Yeah. And then later on in the game, I think Humphreys threw a pretty flat pass, I thought, to Jai Arrow. I don't think it was backwards. And then he called it forward.
Yeah, well, so I don't know.
That's two forward passes we're on the wrong end of.
Yeah. 100%. So I don't know if the rule is still the same, but if the linesman holds his ground, that means he thinks it's a forward pass, and that's exactly what he did in that try down the right hand side. He held his line to say that was a forward pass, and he still went on and ruled the try. So what was the referee looking at?
Yeah, I think it's really disappointing, boys. The amount of tries now that come off the back of forward passes, or there's forward passes in the lead up. I've got to say, even the game the week before against Brisbane, we were towed up. We were cut to ribbons. But if you went through that game and you had a look at forward passes in the lead up to tries, or a forward pass, which was the last pass before a try, mate, I reckon we're only beaten maybe 44-14 instead of 60-14. Honestly, the forward pass, it's an absolute joke. There's plenty of technology there available now, and if everyone watching on the TV can see it, the fans in the stand can see it, we've got a referee out there, we've got linesmen out there. The forward passes in the game now are becoming a joke. Everyone's talking about it. The West Tigers won a game the other week where I think 2 or 3 of their tries come from blatant forward passes. And I think it's a real problem in the game. And for that one to be awarded yesterday as a try, which could have cost us the game, is absolutely farcical, boys.
Yeah, it was a tough one to take, that one. But look, I mean, we ended up on top in the end. I didn't think it was going to be a day when I seen that flick pass out the back. But the boys were able to recover and scramble, and they just wanted it more than the opposition. They just kept working hard. Jai Arrow exemplified that again. 137 metres, most run metres in the forwards, most post-contact metres in the forwards. He leads from the front. He nearly scored a try during the game, and he was just dirty on himself that he didn't get over the line. You can just see a guy like that. And I think on Triple M, he said something about it. I think he goes, they better keep that Burley Pavilion open late because I'm going to attack it straight after
I've
this.
seen
So
that.
hopefully, Jai went and
He
had a
might be
good time
still
over
there.
there.
He
Yeah,
reckons
well,
he's going to be up there till Tuesday on the pen and ink. God bless him.
well, let's hope they can keep Brandon Smith out of the cop station there because they interviewed him on Saturday afternoon or whatever it was when he landed. But look, there was no charges laid, and Wayne Bennett made a bit of a joke about it, I guess, in the press conference. But let's hope it's nothing too serious there with old mate Brandon because geez, you wouldn't want to see he's gone through a fair bit personally as it is, without going too far into it. But I'm sure something like that, he doesn't need anything like that. But we'll find out a bit more in due course, Brownie.
Yeah, look, we don't know too much about it, and we're not going to speculate either. You know, that's probably an issue that's happened quite some time ago, and they've just been waiting for him to land back on the coast just to question him, and that's all they did. If it was any serious issue, there would have been some charges laid, but you know, like I said, we can't speculate, we can't comment on it. Wayne Bennett said he interviewed him as he would have. But yeah, they got a great relationship. I'm sure he would have told Wayne everything. But that's, you know, we don't need to know, and the media doesn't need to know. It's a personal issue, and hopefully everything's been sorted, and we can move on.
Yeah, for sure. That might be about it on that game, boys. New South Wales Cup had a local derby. I'm not sure if any of you seen that. I was watching it while I was watching the main game. Went back and watched the replay this morning again. Yeah, it was a pretty gutsy performance. Consider Roosters nearly had the entire 17 had played first grade, barring one or two. So they had Sandon Smith in the halfback. He was very dominant. They had these the brothers, the Va'a brothers in the forwards, bending on the line back. Yeah, they had some real quality in that side. But the boys hung in, chucked the ball around a lot. Two under 21 halfbacks. I think Matthew Humphries at 19 years of age. His defence in that game on big men, especially in that junior Palga who just came down. Oh, who's the one that came down from the Dolphins 2 weeks ago? He did a one-on-one tackle at the back end of that game that was incredible, and they were absolutely robbed. Go and have a look at the clip I put up recently. A short. They scored. So we scored a try through Hazen Mellors, a miraculous leaping catch where he juggled it in the air and put the ball down to hit the lead with 10 to go, and then the Roosters shifted it with a long pass from Sandon Smith out to the winger out there. I think it might have been Eli Clark, and Mellors turn chase hit him. The ball lifted up above the try line. He fumbled it. The referee come over and awarded it. That was the game right there. And yeah, so it was a bit of a tough way to finish up one. Tim Johansson, 214 metres, continues to lead the run meters there. He's a player of the future. And on a negative note, Penatani, just back from a right hamstring injury, pulled a left hamstring during that game. So yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, disappointing. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see that game. It was on pretty much at the same time as the first grade was on. I was also at work, so I was just juggling a couple of things to be able to watch the NRL, and unfortunately, I didn't get to watch that game. But chaps, you said we come up against an experienced Roosters side, and that has a trend this year for our particular team. We've had so many injuries. We've been forced to play a lot of younger kids in the New South Wales Cup that have come through the pathway system. We don't have the experience, but they're getting the opportunity. And well done to the New South Wales Cup. They've had some really good performances over the last couple of weeks. And like you just said, we're very unlucky to lose that game yesterday. And yeah, he's one to keep an eye on, definitely young Matthew Humphries. And Hazen Mellors, it looks like he had another great return from injury, and hopefully he can have a good back end of the season.
Yeah, he's an exciting talent, young Penatani there. Brendan, local junior, Maddo Tiger.
Yeah, mate. I just like to give a shout out to Matt Humphreys too. I often chat to his dad on my postie run, and they're really stoked with the experience he's getting playing against men, playing up in the New South Wales Cup level. And as you mentioned, defensively he was really good yesterday, chaps, and he's really gaining some really vital experience because I think I read online that he's going to be in our top 30 in 2027, and he's getting some really good experience now playing against some bigger, stronger men, and he's handling it really well.
He's on the development deal next year, which means he can play first grade next year. Don't know. That probably isn't the plan, but you never know. Look what happened this year.
Yeah.
Ashton Ward, he wasn't on the radar, but look where he ended up. But hopefully we don't have those sort of injuries and he can develop in the reserve grade. But he's a powerful player too for a small man. He had 110 run meters. He's not scared to just tuck and run. He had an offload for Hazen Mellors. He scored 2 tries, Hazen Mellors, for his first try. He had 3 or 4 blokes all over him, just squeezed the ball out the back, and they shifted it. Mellors scores in the corner. He had the try assist for Mellors. This ridiculous kick against the Breeze, where it sat up in the Breeze for eternity, gave Mellors enough time to get down there and outleap the winger to score. Look, he's someone that you can be really excited about, and he's one of the guys that got an experience in that game that aren't old blokes; they're young blokes. Hazen Mellors is one. Your Penatanis was out there. Look, there's. It's not all doom and gloom in those
I just,
grades.
just
Yeah.
on Humphreys, chaps, and you indicated a lot of his good attributes, and one of them is what I like, and you mentioned it, he takes the line on. He's not scared to tuck the ball under the arm and run first before he passes, and that's what you want from your halfback sometimes. And if there's a run on offer, if there's yards to be made, run first and then look to pass, and that's what he does really well. And chaps, now there was one player that didn't play, and there's been a lot of controversy around him, and that was Lewis Dodd. Was he injured? Do you know?
Not injured, no. I'm not sure the reason why he didn't play. I'd say, look, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of pressure on the kid, and maybe he just said, mate, look, can I have the week off? I'm, copping a lot of flack here, and not only that, Wayne Bennett taking him all year to say it, but the journalist asked him about form, and he said, well, maybe it's not form, maybe it's ability. So Souths are under the impression that maybe he doesn't have the ability at the moment to play first grade. So we've been speculated on the show for 6 months now. So look, there's some good things about Lewis Dodd, but he's certainly got a lot way to go when it comes to just the first part of rugby league is physical contact, and he just doesn't seem to have that at the moment. I'm not sure whether he gains that or gets an opportunity to go back to England, where they might be able to toss him a couple of 100,000 a wee tip in the rest. It's been sad because he's such a lovely bloke, such a champion bloke to be around. I think all the players do love him, so it would be tough on the bloke. Shout out to you, Louis, mate. Sounds like there's nothing you've done wrong, mate. It just is what it is.
Yeah, exactly right, and it's not Lewis Dodd's fault. But Wayne was just being up front and given him the best opportunity to play at the top level as well. Wayne has got the opinion that he won't get an opportunity at the Rabbitohs. He might be able to get an opportunity elsewhere, and I think he's looking after Lewis Dodd's future rather than just throwing him on the scrap heap. He's given Lewis the opportunity to try and find a club where he can get opportunities. He just Wayne feels that he mightn't get the opportunity when everyone's fully fit at the Rabbitohs.
Yep. Look, the other game on that day, they moved that game from Wentworth Park to Redfern on the Sunday because of doesn't handle the water very good. The old dog track itself in Wentworth Park, but we're beaten 44-12 in the opening game, and look, honestly, it wasn't real close. The front row rotation of the Seve twins or brothers, they are monsters. That are McGelly and also Ethan Roberts, absolute superstar in the making. They can't handle a guy like Roberts on an edge. So skillful. And not only that, he's obviously an old South junior, Ethan Roberts. I'd love to see him at the Rabbits. Speculation he's signed with the West Tigers on a 3-year deal. No ink's dried yet. He's going to give everyone an opportunity to put a bid in. Cade Maguire, he scored 21 tries this year in Jersey Flag, also a South junior. Mad Roosters fan he is, him and his family. His mum's a South fan. But Cade Maguire, very exciting prospect. There's a possibility he might come to the Rabbits, but Haven't heard too much about that. On our side of things, look, the best player on the field for us, no doubt about it, is Charlie Poynton. Absolute handful. Still only 18, 19 years of age. He always finds an overlap. He's got the Gidley flick pass. He's got the show and go. He scored a try. He set up the other try. They were the only 2 tries we scored on the day, boys. So, yeah, we were just outclassed by a better opposition there.
Yeah, Charlie Poynton, he's got speed and he's got class about him, chaps. He does some things, some freakish things on the field. I've seen a couple of flick passes on the weekend, but like you said, he's got that speed where he can get on the outside of his opposition player, and he really threatens the line and really does make a lot of line breaks. But just a shout out to the Maguire family, like you said, chaps, Shooter and Christie and young Maguire who scored a hat-trick there on the weekend, Cade. Yeah, shout out to you guys. I know they listen to the show. So, yeah, he's a fantastic fellow, fantastic family, and, yeah, like to see him in the red and green.
We don't like to give the Roosters too much of a rap, but anyway, we're about to bag them here because we played them in the Harvey Norman Women's. We actually beat them, mate. So 26 points to 18, and well done to Tippy. He's really got this team playing some good football. They didn't have their best game on the weekend, admittedly, he said, but it's the class of their halves. I don't know if you watched that clip I clipped up last week of McGregor. Brendan, Kieran McGregor. She's done a carbon copy to ice the game. The exact same play. Thurston, no look, outball to O'Brien, and she's gone over and scored. It's just gone up this morning, but do yourself a favour and look at that. These girls need a bit of attention because, look, first grade, second grade, and third grade, not travelling too well. Their team's certainly travelling well. They're right up at the pointy end of the table. In 4th position at the moment. So well done to Tippy and the Harvey Norman girls.
Yeah, they're playing a really good brand of footy, aren't they? They shift the ball around. They've got a little bit of speed on the wing. They've got class in the halves. But, yeah, congratulations to Tippy and the team, and keep up the good work. A few games left in their season yet, and they're going along nicely.
Well, they've only lost the 1 game so far. So they're sitting, even though they're 4th, they're really only 1 game off equal first position. So those girls have starting to really put it together. It's certainly worth the price of admission. Just going out to watch their halves. Anytime you get a win over the Roosters, it's pretty impressive. They're going to be playing at Redfern Oval again next week on Saturday, 11:30 against the Parramatta Eels. Get out there if you've got nothing on because they certainly deserve a bit of attention, the girls.
Yeah, how good's that, chaps? It's great to have the girls on the Cardinal and Myrtle, and you've mentioned the last couple of weeks about that halves pairing and how skillful they are. And let's hope we can do something and keep them in the red and green, chaps, because I'm sure with the women's game ever evolving, there's going to be plenty of teams after those 2 halves, mate.
Yeah, I can imagine so. They'll be certainly trying to track them down with the amount of franchises they got now in the women's game, the NRLW. I mean, South, I think they've been forced to put on a license by 2028, I believe. Is that correct, boys? They have to have a license. They'll be fined. I mean, every team must have one by then. I'm not sure how it's going to work with the PNG. Will have one eventually, and all that sort of stuff. Your Perth team will have to put one in. So it comes at a big cost, but look, I watched a bit of the girls' game last night. The Parramatta side's pretty handy. But they put on some good players. They're certainly working hard, and the growth of the women's game is something that's been pretty unbelievable, to be honest.
Well, we know for a fact that the Rabbitohs, they've planned to have this, the team in the NRLW. They've got a section at the Heffron Centre where it's been purposely built for the women's team, and they've just taken it slowly. They're starting to build their pathways. Like you said, chaps, this particular team in the Harvey Norman, they're tracking along nicely now. They're starting to get some girls. They're starting to develop the players. They didn't want to rush it. Hopefully over the next few years, and like you said, by 2028, they will have that team in the NRLW.
Oh, for sure. You got anything else you want to add there, boys?
No, not really. I just want to give a big plug to our sponsors. You can see them behind us. The juniors and Daryl Lee been big supporters of ours over the course of the last couple of years, and the juniors, the A grade competition, they've reached their semi-finals now. I believe mascot won on the weekend, chaps. The Coogee Wombats, the
Coogee
Larbaroo
Wombats beat
Panthers.
Redfern All Blacks, yeah.
Yeah, the Larbaroo Panthers finished minor premiers, a proud Indigenous club. Only returned to the A grade this year. They've got some quality players that have come through the pathway system at the Rabbitohs. And stay tuned because we'll be live streaming the A grade grand final once again this year. So yeah, big thank you to our sponsors and keep an eye on the A grade semi-finals and the grand final in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, they started sort of the season white hot there, the Coogee Wombats, but they fell into a hoop. I think they had 27 injuries at one stage, but they're starting to get a few of them back now, and that was a big upset. I thought Redfern would have beat them with the Iceman himself, Kirill Phillips, who's pretty much won 3 grand finals in a row with 3 different teams. He finds himself back at Redfern for another stint, but anyway, some exciting football coming up, but we might leave it there. That might be about it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.
Go the Rabbits.
Go the Rabbits.